of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. This meeting is an in-person meeting at 870 Colfax here in Benton Harbor. In addition, a live stream of this meeting is available at the following link. Questions may be submitted beforehand to natalie.singer@bhas.org or presented in person during the public comment section as indicated in the agenda. Board members may be contacted through the emails listed below. Requests for special assistance, including for persons with disabilities, may be sent to natalie.singer@bhas.org. I call this meeting to order officially at 6:09 p.m. We'll begin by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Secretary Triplett, can you please call the roll?
President Robinson,
Present.
Vice President Bowens,
Present.
Secretary Triplett, President Treasurer Creighton, Trustee Rocket Martin,
Present.
Trustee Doyle, Trustee Gavin.
Present.
Madam President, a quorum has been established.
All right, awesome. Next on the agenda, we have approval of the agenda. As a reminder, today is our work session. Majority of the items here are just discussion. However, if I'm not mistaken, there is, Dr. Buss, you indicated there may be a vote today, but I don't actually see a staff report tied to it. Is it the insulin litigation?
It was, but we determined that we had more time, so.
Okay. All righty, so as of today, we have no actual actions that we're taking votes on. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I so move.
Is there a second or support?
Support.
The motion has been made by Secretary Triplett and supported by Vice President Bowens. Any questions, comments, or concerns? Hearing none, Secretary Triplett?
President Robinson,
Yes.
Vice President Bowens,
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin, Trustee Doyle,
Yes.
Trustee Gavin.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, awesome. Next up is a review of the board norms, the Board of Education norms for Benton Harbor area schools. We will treat each other with respect. We will listen to learn. We will refrain from side conversations. We will use our time wisely, starting and ending our meetings on time. We will challenge ideas and not people. We will ask questions when in doubt. There will be no surprises at the board table. We will practice the 7 norms of collaboration. Those are pausing, paraphrasing, posing questions, putting ideas on the table, providing data, paying attention to self and others, and presuming positive intention. We had an amazing meeting last time, so I'm hoping that we can continue the positive energy today. Next on the agenda is public comment on agenda items. Is there anyone present to make a public comment on an agenda item? All right. Do you need me to read the public comment statement? All right, I'll go ahead and begin reading that. The Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education recognizes the value of public comment on educational issues and the importance of allowing members of the public to express themselves on district matters. Today, there are 2 areas for comment on the agenda of which you may decide when to speak: public comment on agenda items and open public comment. We request that each interested participant complete a public participation form using legible writing to ensure that responses are appropriate and properly focused. Per Benton Harbor Area Schools Bylaw 0167.3, which governs board participation at board meetings, we request that you preface your comments with your name, address, and group affiliation when appropriate. Each statement made by a participant shall be limited to a 3-minute duration, and per our bylaws, no participant may speak more than once on the same topic until any other persons have had the opportunity to speak on that topic. Participants may remove their mask when addressing the board. Participants shall direct all comments to the board and not to staff or other participants. The board will listen, take comments and questions under advisement, and not respond at this time. I, as president, will refer questions to the superintendent for research and response. Please ensure that your public participation form includes your contact information as requested. If you have specific questions for the board or executive team that require follow-up, please email those directly to natalie.singer@bhas.org. You have the floor.
Thank you. Testing. Thank you. Good evening. Tiana Batiste Waddell, 330 Colfax Avenue, Southman, Indiana. The executive director of BHAS Aspire, which is in the Michiana area, so I am a concerned citizen. Why has Dr. Butts continued to submit a strategic plan update that does not list logical and concise metrics and evidence to improve the district's academic and behavioral data. It is unacceptable that Dr. Butt's illogical approach to the district and school improvement has been on display for all of these months. As Trustee Gavin previously stated, the evidence for the indicator, quote, increased student achievement as measured on local, state, and national assessments, unquote, would be proof that student achievement increased on local, state, and national assessments and no other type of metrics. It is embarrassing that this is what has been submitted as the community reviews a whirlwind of illogical responses, not knowing that it really all does not make any sense. It makes us all look bad that this is what this board is accepting and allowing to happen this long. Unfortunately, the district has still not made available the meeting from the last 2 weeks. So I'm unaware of how great the meeting was. I know that there was things that were listed in that meeting that I have concerns about. President Robinson, is it okay to continue about the COPS grant that you all discussed last week since the video was not made available?
Are you asking me if you can speak on it?
Because it's not an agenda item on your
Please
agenda
proceed.
tonight.
Please proceed.
I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Why was there an agenda item for the COPS, a practice of community policing? When according to their website, you've already been awarded $500,000 to have community policing. Why do we need police in schools? What evidence are you using that shows having police in schools is beneficial to Black students and students in Benton Harbor area schools? Currently, the evidence clearly indicates that having police in schools does more harm than good, ballooning the school to prison pipeline and harming Black students disproportionately. And police should not be in Benton Harbor area schools. I'm looking forward to how you will clearly inform the community that the district did not meet the 18th month partnership agreement goal due to just poor district culture and climate. And I'm still wondering where Ms. Creighton is at. When will this be addressed? And I don't know if you guys are timing me. Do I keep going?
You have 15 seconds.
Okay, thank you. JAX Aspire Foundation and several additional citizens, according to the survey that has been out for quite some time, demand that the Benton Harbor Area School Board of Education recommend and vote for the termination of Dr. Kelvin Butts. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else for public comment on agenda items? All right, hearing none, we'll proceed to approval of the meeting minutes. So the next December's regular board meeting will be taking votes on closed session 9/11/2024 and regular session 11/12/2024. I do see that 11/12 is pending audio. Was there something wrong with the audio, Dr. Butts, or what's the update, or Ms. Singer?
With the audio, we were taping live and not from the app. So there seems to be some issues and we're working on trying to retrieve the audio from there.
Okay. All righty. So we have no video at this time. We have video, no audio.
No video, no audio at this time.
Okay, so Ms. Singer, if, I'm not sure how we'll go as far as processing that. Dr. Secretary Triplett has the votes and things of that nature. So if down to the bare minimum, we may not be able to capture all of the comments and things of that nature that was made, but at minimum, we're able to capture the votes, which is the most important thing, what was passed and things of that nature. Okay, so we'll expect to have those by the next board meetings. Okay. All right, so next up on the agenda is board business reminder protocol as of 9/13/2022. All comments will be limited to 2 minutes per trustee per topic. Up next, we have our 21st century education presentation being presented by Dr. Sydney Jordan. You have the floor.
Thank you, Madam President and board trustees and Dr. Butts. Waiting for my team to show up here so I can introduce them. I will start with myself. Hear me? My name is Dr. Sidney Jordan. I'm the Vice President of Strategic Partnerships with 21st Century Ed. And joining me, wait till they join here for a second. And on the Zoom, we have our CEO, Marlon Lindsay. We also have Dr. Jerome J.T. Taylor Watson, who is the Vice President of Products, Services, and Integration Strategies. And then we have Danny Bates, who's the Executive Director of Products, Services, and Integrated Strategies. I will first turn some time over to Marlon Lindsay for some opening comments.
Thank you, Sydney, members of the board, Mr. Chair, Superintendent, the Benton Harbor community. I'm delighted to be here with you. It's a great pleasure to talk with you today about, I think, what is the quintessential issue of our time, getting our students ready to thrive in the rest of the 21st century. Imagine having every Benton Harbor student graduate reading on grade level, fluent in English, proficient in math, doing complicated equations. That would only qualify them to work in the first industrial revolution. We're now in the fourth industrial revolution. And the key factor that determines full employment and whether our students try to survive or thrive in the fourth industrial revolution is STEM literacy. And in 21st century ed, we define STEM literacy with a formula. STEM literacy equals the 4 C's plus the 2 P's. With the 4 C's being creativity, critical thinking, communication and collaboration, plus the 2 P's being problem finding and problem solving. Our mission in this day and age is to ensure that our students are ready to thrive in the rest of the 21st century. Because if we don't get them ready, it's not a matter of if they'll be left behind. They really will be left behind. They're left out. This is different. We're in a different time. So we're delighted to be here with you to talk about how 21st Century Ed is excited about the potential of a partnership with Benton Harbor to get the students ready to thrive in the rest of the 21st century. Thank you for allowing us to present to you today. Back to you, Sydney.
Thank you, Marlon. 21st Century Ed ensures that not just that the students will be able to learn about the future, but that they will be able to change the future. What you will see next is a video that will show and demonstrate our partnership with districts across the country and internationally.
Imagine a classroom where every desk is a world unto itself, where the way a student learns is the exact way they're taught. At 21st Century Ed, we call this the systems approach. First, we discover where the school district stands in their STEM integration strategy at 4 distinct levels: discrete, integrated, immersive, or comprehensive. But this isn't just data. These are actionable insights from a STEM integration strategy. Bring this plan to life, we need a shift in culture. With our emerging STEM leader program, we believe that all teachers, yes, all teachers can become STEM leaders through design thinking infused pedagogy. And to empower educators, we need these tools. Pedagogy AI allows educators to become the very teacher their students need by creating individualized lesson plans according to their interests, dispositions, strengths, and weaknesses. In this STEM century, it takes a village to raise a 21st century graduate. With our STEM expos, students and their communities explore STEM together. And as this journey continues, we share this knowledge with the world through our book and video documentary series. This transformation is larger than one student, one teacher, one school, one district, or even one country. It's a call to all of us. Let's work together to ensure that STEM education is accessible, engaging, and a pathway to success for every student.
Now we would take some time for you to be able to witness a demonstration of our pedagogy AI tool that will be presented by Dr. JT and Danny Bates. Gentlemen.
All right, good evening. Thank you so much for having us tonight. Very excited to show you our artificial intelligence tool. This tool, as Danny brings it up, is a tool that we will put in the hands of educators in your district. We're already doing this in many school districts here in the country and internationally. It is a platform that allows your teachers to create real-time instruction for their students, to engage their students, not just in STEM, but supporting English language arts, math, science, and social studies. We had an opportunity to do this yesterday with a few from Benson Harbor. All right, so Sydney, you're in the room. I'm going to need someone to give me a grade level to build this course off of. So we're going to say create a unit of study for students in grade. I just need someone to call out a grade level for me.
8th grade.
Okay, let's create a unit of study for students in grade 8, and I need a subject area.
Math.
Okay, so we're gonna create a unit of study for students in grade 8, focused on math. That's actually funny, I actually taught 8th grade math for 11 years. Specifically focusing on what's in 8th grade math. Give me like a specific topic.
Pre-algebra.
Pre-algebra, okay, great. Yep, pre-algebra, algebraic concepts, or pre-algebra is fine. Specifically on pre-algebra now, for 8th grade students, and your 8th grade teachers or your middle school teachers, they have, tons of curriculum surrounding this, but with artificial intelligence, it allows us to bring in the voice and choice of the students. So we're going to align this, just for time purposes, and since the Detroit Lions are playing this Thursday, and they're doing so well, let's align this to football. So let's align this to the Detroit Lions, NFL team, for NFL football. So our AI tool is going to take students' interest and love in, let's say, sports, and it could be music, we could have chose video games, we could have chose a favorite movie. In this sense, since it's Thanksgiving week, we'll do football. All right, Danny, so go ahead and click save just in terms of time. And so if you were using like a general AI tool for teachers, it would have given out sort of like a lesson plan for teachers. Our platform is not just a lesson plan for teachers. It's actually the way in which the student is going to engage in the activities. So our platform pedagogy is going to ask for further parameters. I'm going to kind of go through these just because of time. So look at author persona. This course could be written in the voice of an entertainer, an entrepreneurial thinker, inspirational motivator, practical expert, all those things. Let's just do for this purpose today, let's do, inspirational motivator. The level as well, there, can you click level? Oh, perfect. There are 3 levels. If the students are just learning pre-algebra, beginner's level, let's see how 8th graders are just learning these pre-algebraic concepts. So let's click beginner. Obviously, they're the audience are teenage students in middle school. Let's do teenagers. And then the writing style, it can be professional, it can be academic, it can be written formal or humorous. Let's make this a little inspirational motivator. Let's make it a little fun. So let's make it humorous. The other feature here, and you don't get with most AI tools, teachers are really gonna love this because in the additional instruction, you can say, be sure to include, some names of give me your quarterback. Who's the quarterback of the Detroit Lions?
Come on now.
Jared Goff.
There we go. So we want to make sure that during golf and maybe some other players that the students really like. Teacher can put this here, but they also can say, be sure to include how to solve multi-step equations, or how to solve for X, or any of those other things that they're going to they want to specifically focus on. So put also be sure to teach the students how to solve multi-step equations. And this gives the teachers the flexibility, if they know there's something they're teaching that's coming up, or something that students will be assessed on, they can make sure that it's included here to give students practice and opportunities with this. Okay, we're going to continue to move. In terms of language, this can be translated in over 70 languages. And so if you have students in your district who speak a different language, it can be written in their language, and then using our immersive reader, it can be translated back to English. This it definitely helps the English language learners in the district. Let's just do English for tonight. We're going to ask the AI to generate the tiles, and you'll see this after the course is presented. But we want the AI to kind of create the imagery. And so we say yes, and then look at all of the different image styles that is available. That's available. Thank you. There we go. Let's choose you can choose one, Danny. So you can see all the different options that are here. We're going to choose for this. There we go. Just a little slow.
And Dr. JT, continue to call out some of those items because the screen is pretty small. So.
It is. Oh, okay. Yeah. So we're going to choose image style photographic image. I think we might have lost Danny. Oh, there we go. He's coming. Hey, we still have you? Okay. So
yeah, I'm still here. I think we lost you.
Okay, got it. So let's go to the next one would be the micro learning format. We don't need that because we're not creating a credential course. We have the option to also include custom data. This gives the teachers the opportunity to upload attachments. When I taught this, I would have been able to upload a worksheet or some other resource that I had, and our AI tool will extract from that resource to build the course. But for today, let's just say no. Competencies is the area where we can insert your standards. So we would use the Michigan standards here. And so if they were, as a partner, we will already have them here. They will be in the library, and the teacher can just add that standard as well. Tonight, we're going to just ask the AI to create the competencies and create about 5 competencies. Great. And then looking at the content, modules are how the students engage with the course. And so modules are about a week's worth of work. For tonight, let's just show them let's show one module. Just do the time so they can see what a week's work looks like. And then we go to, we can also, for validity purposes, cross-check the content with another AI and all the other AI platforms out there. Tonight, just so we can generate this in the few minutes that we have, I'm going to say no. This platform also allows not only content, but images and videos to be uploaded right into the course. Because you have students who are auditory learners, they're visual learners, so we'll say yes and yes there. We'll also say yes to a glossary and a study guide, because I know as a former 8th grade teacher, I want the students to have fun and resources like these, but I also want them to be prepared for the final exam. And then in terms of the modules, as we just said, we're going to build a week's worth of work. So in each module, the first question is asking how many content pages would we like to be built? And so tonight, we're just gonna say, show one, content page, just so they can see how it looks. We can also include an open-ended free-form assessment, like an essay. I always want my students to write out the rules, so I know that they knew how to solve a multi-step equation. So we're gonna say yes here, and look at what happens. When we say yes to an open-ended assessment, our AI tool is gonna create the assessment and the rubric for the teachers to score it, saving them loads of time. We also want to say yes to a quantitative assessment. We need the students to see multiple choice questions, fill in the blank, true and false, giving them different types of assessment to demonstrate their learning. And then my favorite part is adding in a project-based learning activity to every one of our modules, giving students some hands-on opportunity to just demonstrate their learning in another way. You don't have to worry about creating projects anymore because our platform will include it. Not only will it include the project, it include the rubric to score the project as well. Again, saving them a lot of time. Also, I think a feature that students will really love is our gamification feature. We're not going to gamify the course tonight, but that feature is available so that every time the student completes a competency and demonstrates proficiency with that competency, they'll earn a badge. And as they collect all of the competencies, badges throughout the course, at the end of the course, they would receive a certificate, and students really love that feature. But tonight, let's just go ahead and say no. Let's click continue. Yes, and let's go ahead and click create. So what's happening in the background, here's our status bar here. What's happening in the background, our AI is going to work, all right? It's saying that it's going to take about 5 minutes to create that experience for 8th graders, aligned to the Detroit Lions, something that the students will really like, but teaching them that pre-algebra concepts. And AI is already at work. It's about 4% creating it. Now I'm going to ask Danny to, so we created a course yesterday on 11th grade, I believe it was, or 9th grade fashion, business management course, in fact, fashion yesterday. And so I want to just show, I know Ms. Gavin, I can't ever see everyone, but I believe Ms. Gavin is there. Ms. Gavin, if you can see a runway to revenue, building your fashion empire. And we were able to hold over that course under our Benton Harbor STEM initiative proposal, so that you can see that course. We were also talking to Mr. Triplett, the co-curriculum team, and expository writing and expository text came up a lot. And so our teams kind of went to work today. Mr. Triplett, if you're in the room, you can hear me. And we created 3 courses using pedagogy around expository text. The Lions, Legend, and Literacy expository, exploring expository writing, the 3rd one that you see on the screen is for early learners. So that's, all the way up to about 3rd, 4th grade. And then in the middle school course around expository writing is game plan for writing, mastering expository essay. And then the last course that you'll see for the 11th graders is scoring with analysis. This is really taking a critical analysis and critical writing. So I thought you would appreciate seeing that. We have a QR code for the board tonight. So if you want to get access to these courses, then can you just bring up the 4 courses again? Just go back out to the main page. I believe Sydney's going around with the QR code now. You have free access to these courses. All you have to do is go in. It'll ask for you to enroll into it, and you'll be able to see all of the activities, all of the essays, all of the projects. Mr. Triplett, I think you're really going to like it. Ms. Gavin, I think you're really going to like the runway to revenue. But we want to show you the power of what this tool can do. Just a conversation about expository writing, and here we have 3 courses that can be used throughout, intermediate, middle, and high school. The power of a tool like this in the hands of your teachers is just revolutionary in terms of how they will be able to engage students and real-time learning that includes their voice and choice and things that they'd be interested in learning. I'm gonna stop here as Danny's almost probably ready to bring up our course that we created tonight. If there are any immediate questions, I think we're still within our time. We're still within our time. I'll take a question from the board while Danny's grabbing the course we just created on 8th grade math.
Dr. JT, you're missing, again, I don't see you up there. I see your cell phone.
Say that again?
I said, I don't see you, but I see your cell phone.
Yeah, because my internet was kind of steady. Here I am. I'm right here.
Okay.
Yes,
Well,
yes.
I think I know this is to my colleagues. We had an amazing time, if I do say so myself, in our curriculum meeting. And so when we talk about this in particular, the AI tool, and lining with state standards assessments, we talked about those teachers who are in training, but we don't have in those positions with certified staff that's non-certified, but they're in training. And so we have a lot of gaps and vacancies. And so how would you all pay close attention to that, and how would you all be able to assist us with that as being one of the situations since you've done your research on Ben Harbor area school?
Yeah, so we have a professional development series called The Emerging STEM Leader, where as Marlon talked about, the STEM literacy being that third core literacy. So we have 8 intensive workshops that your teachers, certified, non-certified teachers, will actually go through. And at the conclusion of those 8 workshops, we certify them as STEM leaders. That means they'll be able to train other teachers in their building, on their teams, along the best practices of design thinking, project-based learning, inquiry-based learning, which really moves the needle for the students that we serve. And we also, that certification is validated by one of our university partners. I believe because of your region, it would be with our university partner, Howard University, that would validate the completion of the hours, and they will also get a certificate from Howard University. So they become extremely credentialed. Didn't really get to do a full introduction. My background, my doctorate is in teaching and learning. I am the curriculist for our company. And so we make sure that you're certified, not certified, doesn't matter. I'm doing this all over the world, training teachers to be proficient. And so that's how we will support. We will want to know where they are, where you want to go as a district, and then we help, get them there.
Okay, I have one more question. And what type of support and training would you have available, since you're PhD in curriculum and instruction? What type of workshops and what have you would you have available for the person that holds the position of director of curriculum? How do you work with that?
Our professional development is mandatory because we don't just do it with teachers. We want to certify any and everyone that's in the district, and specifically your directors, your supervisors, your instructional coaches. We may even help train up some of those people. So if you say you're a director of curriculum, that's a role that I had in my career when I was in public education. And so we would mentor, we would train, because the whole idea is that, we're not going to come and occupy. We want them to be empowered so that they can train. And as teachers, whether they come, stay, new come, certified, uncertified, that they're skilled up and that they would be able to run the training. I'll give you a quick example, if I'm not by the time. In Jamaica, we're working with the Ministry of Education and Youth. And we're working not just with the teachers and the principals at the schools, we're actually working with the education officers because we're training them up. We're doing the 8 workshop series. They'll finish this May. And then the Ministry of Education, they've been trained. The education officers now, they are going to do the next 8 workshop series. So we're building up the capacity of the district leaders, school leaders, as well as the teachers. Did I answer that, Mr. Triplett?
You sure did. Thank you.
A question.
Yeah. Yes.
About how much time are you talking about for the workshops or this program over a span of a year? How much time would have to be committed to it?
Yeah, yes. So if we're talking about specifically for the STEM, for the training. to get
For the trainings,
certification,
for the
it is 8 workshops for 6 hours each. So they are full days. We work in every district, we do it all different kind of ways. It's, rarely you get all 8 done in a year. The way that it works, between each workshop, there's about 30 to 45 days of actual instructional coaching from our team, because we want them to go implement the practices and show proof of implementation, proof of student growth before we move on to the next workshop. If you think about it like a graduate course or graduate program, because they are becoming certified, it's very intensive, it's action planning. But here's the thing, whatever your initiatives are, like say if your initiative is project-based learning, we're gonna roll that in to our professional development. If you are going to do expository learning, and make sure that all students are, proficient in writing, there's a writing initiative, we'll roll that in. So it won't be more work for the teachers. We're going to align to your initiatives and make sure that we are focusing how we deliver our workshops to support what you're doing. And trust me, teachers love it because it's not more of the same. It's enhancing what they do. So they feel really empowered to go back into the classroom over those 30, 45 days and implement what they've been learning. They're pretty super excited, and to see the student grow, because that's the goal, right? To see that the students are actually growing from these best practices and these implementing the best practices.
Dr. JT, this
Yes,
is
sir.
Mr. Triplett. When you look at STEM programs, STEAM programs, and what have you, people, your mind go directly to science. Can you explain the way in which you explain this about how STEM crosses all curriculum and so that, and how we can use that in all areas, our core subject areas? Can you explain to the board and to those who are listening, our teachers as well?
So you heard Marlon talk about some foundational principles under what we call STEM literacy. And these are, so that's the 4 C's and the 2 P's, collaboration, communication, critical thinking, critical thinking, creativity, problem finding, and problem solving. Those skills cross all subject areas. Those are the skills that they need for real world application in the classroom as they go on to college, as they go on to careers. And so we believe that STEM literacy should be in every classroom. So you're right, when we say STEM, it's not just about science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. This is not just for the kid who is good in science. That's not what STEM should be, because that's creating an inequitable system. This is STEM literacy. Every student that graduates any of our programs, our partnership, should graduate STEM literate, whether they go into a STEM career or they go into a STEM enriched career, because as we all see, STEM is everywhere. Even our jobs today, we have to include technology. We have to be proficient in artificial intelligence, and your students will become proficient in these things. And so STEM literacy goes across the band.
And one more thing I would like for you to share with the board. We talked about this, that about us not going through based on data, testing, and what have you, to identify just certain students that would benefit from this. This is for everybody, including our special education students. And so it would be completely district-wide. Can you elaborate on that as well?
Absolutely. One of the things I was most impressed with, meeting with the curriculum team right from the beginning, because we generally have to push districts to want to expose all their students to STEM and not just the kids that they feel like are STEM. So I was very encouraged with that. So Yes, this is pre-K 12, all students becoming STEM literate so that they have those proficiencies that the world of work is looking for. So, and that includes our health, as I just showed you, our platform supports English language learners, but also our students with disabilities. Right, we were just in a training with a group of teachers in Connecticut today. And it's a whole special needs program. They're using our pedagogy platform to modify instruction. You know, teachers say, I can't modify, you know, the regular ed instruction for the students. Well, pedagogy can do that, right? We can put in those prompts, and now your special education teachers can support, or a resource class can support those students using this platform. So that this is for all students. There's no criteria to get into this. There's no program. Every student, every teacher would have access to this.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm gonna actually, we're at about 6:50. So our presentation's been about 40 minutes. So I'll take one last question and then we need to proceed. If it was a question or was it a comment?
Can you tell me again, maybe I missed it, how would you deliver this to our district? How would you deliver this to our teachers? The professional development, would it be virtual? Would it be in person? Just tell me how they would be getting this training.
Yeah, so this would be for your district. We've decided to do this in person. So it would be in-person training. We can do, if you need some of those days to be virtual, because again, we do virtual as well. We'll work with your director of curriculum instruction or supervisor of curriculum instruction to kind of map that out. But we are available to do the 8 workshops in person. I think depending on the level of certification, how many teachers, where they are, you know, it might make sense to be in person to really kind of dig deep for the each of the days that we work together. So that, you know, will be a decision made by you. Dan, could you bring up the course? I know that we have to go and we're not gonna go through the anatomy of the course, but I do want you just to see that the course that we just created together, that 8th grade course, you see it's already starting into pre-algebra game plan for success. If we get time, we can go through it. We'll put it on your the proposal. So where you guys said that QR code that you went to the other courses, we'll add this course there so you guys can peruse it as well. Thank you so much for your time. I truly appreciate it. I'm turning back over to Marlon. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you. You're just going through me to get to Sydney. I do want to say this. You know, STEM literacy is our core work. We are the only company in the country, and quite frankly, globally, that's pushing STEM literacy as core to STEM. It's not just that you can have kids do more robotics or coding or STEM programs and become STEM literate. It requires a comprehensive STEM education system for all students to become STEM literate. And STEM literacy produces the core competency that are required for workforce development. So it is from STEM literacy to workforce development is the work that we do soup to nuts from with their students, teachers, and all that are required to be proficient for a workforce of a 21st century. Sit back to you.
All right, thank you, team. Thank you, JT, Danny, Marlon. Thank you
guys.
to the board. I will hang around, and if you have additional questions that come up, I'll be able to answer those for you. But thank you for your time.
All right, and just so the board knows, there is a staff report T1 where the board is being requested to invest in the 21st century proposal, which is a little bit later in your agenda. So we're gonna proceed, and then if there's additional comments or things of that nature, they can be made at staff report T1. So thank you so much for your time, and thank you to those that joined us virtually to provide the presentation. We're gonna move forward. Next is Committee of the Whole. This is just a conversation discussion that we wanted to initiate. Trustee Doyle, I believe sent the inquiry. I'm pretty certain sent the inquiry. And so what she would like to consider for the upcoming year is going to a Committee of the Whole framework where there are no committee meetings, no separate committees, just one Committee of the Whole, which would be the work session, if I'm not mistaken, Trustee Doyle. And I'll give you the mic to kind of talk about your reasoning or what your thoughts were, and then we can kind of open it up for a brief conversation.
My thoughts about, the committee of the whole is just so we can all get,
Trustee Doyle.
my thoughts were to start the committee of the whole so we can all get the information at one time. Like the finance committee, we already saw this presentation. We spoke with this company. If we had a committee of the whole, everybody would have seen it at one time. And then we could actually get moving a little faster on a lot of other things versus it needs to go to this committee, it needs to go to this committee, it needs to go to this committee before it makes it to the table. If we have a committee of the whole, we will see it all at one time. And I think that would just streamline it and make it even better for us as a board and the superintendent not to have so many meetings. And that's my thought about it.
All right, any other comments or input from the board? Trustee Gavin?
I agree wholeheartedly. I think that it would be an opportunity to streamline our efforts. Exact same thing that Trustee Doyle said. I would recommend that if we do this, that the work session be organized in a way that we receive reports in an effective, template that actually gives us the information that we need in order to make informed decisions. And that we're here for several hours anyway, if those hours can be broken down based on those committees, and we're actually receiving the information that we need to make sound decisions. But I agree, I think, the administration team, the superintendent, whoever is here doing the work, they have to do triple work sometimes, and it takes away from time that should be dedicated to, taking care of the students and the staff and doing what the district needs. So I'm in agreement as long as it's organized in a way that actually allows us to make informed decisions. And I also like the fact that it's transparent. The community can actually see, we're seeing what the community is seeing all at the same time. And when you have that transparency, it builds community trust. So I'm in support of it as long as it's organized and we can bring somebody in to help us make sure that the committee of the whole is organized properly.
All right, Vice President Bowles?
I think we meet as a committee as a whole twice a month. I also think this conversation should not be happening until January when our new trustee comes on. But I also want us to look at, in order for us to get Obamacare, it had to go through the Health and Human Service Committee. In order for us to get, and that's in order for President Trump, when they were doing the impeachment hearings, it had to go through committees. Government works best when we follow the committee structure as what we do. We continue to meet as a whole. I think self-accountability on what we're doing in the committee, make sure we're communicating is something, but I think we need to be careful in getting it. I would also like to see what other best practices are our fellow school districts doing. Because we do meet as a whole twice, and government works in the committees. They wanted the data centers, those had to go through committees. Education, when they're getting rid of meat back in the day, it was another test scores, a test name. Those went through committees. When they're developing the budget, those go through committees. Thank you.
All right, and so just to respond, it was a request from Trustee Doyle to add it to the agenda today. And I know that in January, we'll have an organizational meeting where we will decide whether we continue work sessions or go to one meeting, those types of things, the schedule. And so I did approve and move forward with allowing her to put it on the agenda so that the conversation can start, at least get started, and we can kind of have an idea of where the table is, so that when we come into the organizational meeting in January, there's already some sense of idea as to what the will of the board is, and it will be simply a vote versus us taking an extended amount of time discussing it then. Secretary Triplett?
I agree with committees, but in anything that you do, I think that people have to have an understanding of what those committees are. The purpose for the committee does not make decisions. And I think a lot of times things are presented at committees and people are making decisions, it's not coming to this Board of Education. And so as long as we understand, if you do a committee as a whole, as Trustee Gavin stated, whatever it is that we decide to do, that we need to be professional in doing so, and that we need to understand what it is. You know, we've basically in my 4 years here, we've operated from a transactional perspective. And so, with new board members, each time I came in as a new board member, 2 years later, there were 2 more new board members and what have you. But once you establish your protocols and what have you, is very important. Either way, if we do it effectively and efficiently, it will work for us. And I think every time we start growing in one direction, you know, we are not a well-oiled machine in order for us to even consider one meeting a month. That's just my opinion, because we have too many different things that we need to work on as a board. Like yesterday in our curriculum committee, we Director Cuss had some things on the agenda. And so as we went through and talked in committee, we said, well, are we prepared for that? We discussed, if you think we should bring this to the board right now, are we ready? We made necessary adjustment. I think it was, you know, it was good for her, it was good for us. We discussed it. And so a lot of things that was originally on the committee agenda, some of the things were removed because we wanted to make sure that when, as chairman of the committee, and Trustee Gavin was in there, we make sure we bring it before our board, that we're bringing something that our board can move on and be able to see so it had the pros and cons and all of it, but the best way for us, I mean, the thing that we're going to have to do is we're definitely going to have to do our part and do a lot better as a Board of Education. In either way, we're going to have to do better than what we've been doing.
Agreed. The only thing I will add one thing. I considered the possibility of shifting or merging committees. I tried to do it last year. There was some kickback, I think, from 1 or 2 people. But I like the idea of merging facilities and finance, potentially merging student support services and curriculum. What I have seen is that, you know, I like committee framework because when the superintendent knows that his committee supports something, you already have 3 votes to be able to pass it at the board table. And so I've always, you know, in moments where there may be frustration, reminded him, you know, you have 3 people that'll pass it. But what I've seen happen is that we've kind of been bottlenecked and limited in what we can do and what can come before the board table because it hasn't come before committee, but committee hasn't met. So then the table has been limited because something hasn't passed through a committee due to a lack of a meeting. And so, you know, those are some of the things that I know that we all want to work through. And so I do want us to start having this conversation, kind of marinate over it over the next month so that we have a stronger idea as a board of, you know, what our pleasure is going into January. Keeping in mind that we will have Bradley returning, and so his voice will also be accountable vote at the decision table in January. But I just wanted to make sure that I gave honor to Trustee Doyle's request and at least allow us to start this conversation. So I'm going to try to keep us forward. If you guys could kind of marinate over that, your thoughts as it relates to committee and things that you think would make us move a little bit smoother. Up next is expulsion and reentry hearings. I don't want to take too much time on this. So there was a request from Trustee Gavin, I believe, to have attorneys present at our expulsion and reentry hearings. I did ask that Dr. Butts just do a quick cost analysis for us because I like to make sure that we're considering all factors in making decisions. And so I did ask that he would give us estimated costs that it would be potentially if that was something that we did. And so what he's provided to us is that the attorney cost is $275 per hour. Travel costs start when the attorney begins the trip. And so based on the 23-24 expulsionary hearings, The estimated total that he estimated was $10,450. Now, that doesn't mean that will be standard, that it will be that high or that minimal. That does not include travel time. But I just wanted to kind of get that number out there so that the board would be aware of what the potential cost would be for attorney fees if we did proceed with having attorneys present, and just wanted us to know the numbers. Secretary Triplett, and then we'll go trustee Gavin.
Just like we did, I know, in past, when we did have our attorneys there and they had to reconsider when we had to restructure when we were in debt and what have you, and do some cutbacks and what have you. But, we also can wipe out some of that, travel time, because just like we just did this here, the attorney can appear there as
Virtual.
well. And we
Okay.
have our technology up to date and up to par.
So can
for
you
those
check into
cutbacks.
that virtual attendance?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it is something, also while we're talking about the expulsion piece, and it's been brought up again for us to go back to our old, to our way that worked, where because a lot of things wouldn't even go to the actual expulsion hearing if we had the process was followed properly. The expulsion, as I stated before, it comes from the principal. The principal sends it to student services to student services, and the student services make a recommendation as to whether or not it goes before the Board of Education. So when you got those two steps, there's a process for, a hearing with student services and what have you, and the student services make that decision as to whether or not it goes forward to us even come. And when it comes to the Board of Education, then you have 3 representatives that will be there, and the Board of Education versus an individual make the decision for what's happening with the students in our community.
Thank you, Secretary Triplett. Trustee Gavin?
Thank you, President Robinson. That was the first thing that came to my mind, is that I wouldn't be asking the attorney to travel. I would expect the attorney to join us on Zoom, like the attorney joined us on Zoom for the consultation regarding the reentry hearing. And it was no longer than an hour. And I guess what I'm looking at is, the reason you have an attorney is to prevent you from spending, making, $100,000 mistakes, right? And so in the long run, especially when you're dealing with expulsions, removing students from school, there is a wealth of knowledge that you learn from the attorney being present in terms of protocols, legal procedures moving forward. So the attorney being present at one meeting, we got information in terms of, what should and shouldn't be happening in schools, that will prevent us from being sued if we actually take that information and utilize it. So, I would say that this cost analysis should absolutely include the Zoom option, and absolutely include how much are we saving. This is my first time even, I was on the Policy and Discipline Committee. This is my first time even hearing that there were 20 students that were proposed for expulsion. We got no information about what happened, after that brawl. And so, there's some blind spots, there's some lack of information. And so we need to have an attorney involved. And not only that, we need to be informed about, what is happening in the schools, especially as it relates to expulsions.
All right, any other comments from the board before we move on to the next topic?
I think I would anticipate it more being longer than maybe an hour with the attorney, because you'd have to have given him the information ahead of time to look at, right? So you have to consider that too. He'd have to look at this information. I don't think he could just come online, listen to that hearing and make a judgment call. So you'd have to have given it, so you'd probably want to give
Factor in.
more hours
Okay.
to that.
Okay.
And put in, that would up the price some, but virtual would probably be better than having to drive through the snow or whatever. The other part I would like to emphasize is that our main goal, since we put in peer mediation, our main goal is not to have expulsions. And that's what we're going to be striving for.
Mhm.
That's what we're going to be working for, that we can get our youngsters to begin to solve problem solve and work through some issues so that we don't have to have any. That's what that's our main goal. And that's what we really want to focus on. None. We want everybody to be able to stay in school every day to get the things done that they need to get done.
All righty, so we're gonna move forward. I didn't hear anybody that was against potential costs of having attorneys present, so I'm pretty sure they can come virtually, but if you could just circle around and have that update for us and whether or not they would factor in, how much time would they consider that they would need to prepare for the hearing, if that's gonna be a second hour, if that's gonna be a 0.5. Those questions are very important because, for example, I realized that my place of employment, I'm charged $75 every time I send an email. Those are some of the, yeah, so you have to be careful. I second guess them emails now. Right.
I know.
So we just want to make sure we know all of those things. I gave the cost analysis, but I don't want us to make a decision and not consider all of the factors. So that was a good point.
Yes, Madam President.
Madam President.
Secretary Triplett.
Say, and this right here, just to piggyback seriously on what Trustee Gavin stated, there are, unfortunately, there are a lot of mistakes that have been made when it comes to how we consistently discipline our students from the principal level to the central administration level. There have been several mistakes just from me just observing. So that's where when you come in, you're talking about, and the Board of Education being the ones that make that decision. The representative of the board and the reason that it was changed, and I want to bring this to this board. The reason that it was changed was the previous administration, they brought students up for expulsion. And there were over 10 mistakes made from the principal's office to by the time it got to us. And we could not expel that student because of timelines, deadlines, mistakes that was made at this level. And so that's when the anger came. And, like you said, you got 3, you got 4 people just switched over and said, okay, you're gonna give this person the power. And so an attorney is necessary because really seriously, people can be sued. And we have to make sure that we are on top of our game. And we just have to be honest with ourselves as we sit here at this table, as our community has expressed so vividly and so powerfully that there are lots and lots and lots of mistakes made. And so we need to reconsider that. That's something that's very, very pressing that we, as a Board of Education, we need to consider that and not look at individuals because we like them and we kicking up with them. This is business. It's not personal.
All right, so we're gonna proceed. I'm gonna pass the floor to Dr. Buss so you can talk to us about the Troon update on the insulin litigation and the client contract that you'll be proposing to us.
Thank you, Madam President. With the Troon incident litigation, this blast that you all have in front of you is in reference to a class action lawsuit. It was for districts that were self-funded. We were self-funded under our previous CHRO. We're now fully funded again. But for the districts that were self-funded and or had certain insurances, there's been a class action lawsuit. They reached out to ask if we wanted to join. So basically, if won, this would just be additional monies coming back into the district. We have to do nothing else but to sign a contract, basically a memorandum of agreement to join into the lawsuit.
Okay, so I'll read the first paragraph so people have an understanding of what it said. Entities nationwide have started joining a nationwide lawsuit against various insulin manufacturers, pharmacy benefit managers, and other defendants accused of artificially inflating insulin prices at the expense of employers and health plan entities, including insurance pools. Lawsuit defendants include, among others, is it Eli Lilly
Mhm.
and Company, Novo Nordisk Incorporated. What is that? Sanofi, Aventis, US LLC. Those entities eligible to join the lawsuit include any self-insured employer, any employer that contributed to employee medical benefit plan costs or other healthcare costs in any insurance pool. So the question that I would have is, are we going to be spending additional monies by joining in this lawsuit?
No, ma'am.
Okay. So the contract is just us saying we want to join into this class action lawsuit?
Want to be represented in the class action lawsuit.
Okay, any questions from the board? I know you may not have had an opportunity to read fully through it. This is not anything, he was essentially hoping that we would take action today. We're not taking action today, so there is time to read through the contract or do additional research on this actual litigation, but are there any questions from the board table at this time? Trustee Rocket Martin?
Dr. Bus, do you have any idea about how much they're suing for?
Not at this time.
Okay, so we would know our settlement costs. I mean, our settlement part.
Right, right.
Okay. But I know action lawsuits because I've been involved in them, different products and stuff. You do get some benefit from it freely, and it doesn't cost us anything.
Madam President.
Secretary Triplett?
So our attorney, our law firm has presented this to us, so it's something they think that we should do. Even if you don't get a lot of money, it's the principle of the matter as well, because our employees, our staff, students, and I don't know who all was affected by this, as far as our insurances, what we paid and what have you. So I think this is kind of like a no-brainer. If our attorney came and said, this is something that we need to be involved in, it's not going to cost us any money. But we're standing on principle, and then if we get money, that's fine, money that we deserve back, then I think that would be a no-brainer.
All right, Vice President Bowen?
You know, I support this. I just have never mind. I was gonna say,
Please speak, use your voice,
so
sir.
do we have a 401k, or do we have, like, if, say, for example, you're investing in stocks and you are suing that company, I don't know, like, maybe my mind's just going longer, sorry. Disregard.
All right, so we're gonna proceed. Next up, we have Superintendent. It is 7:15. So I just want everyone to put on your seatbelts because I am gonna whip us through the remainder of the meeting. So we're gonna give it to Dr. Bus for the partnership agreement update and strategic plan update.
Thank you, Madam President. To be very brief, for the partnership agreement update and the strategic plan updates, I'll be presenting at the December meeting after we get our results from the benchmark review. I think that'll be a more accurate representation of both the partnership agreement update and the strategic plan update and our next steps.
Okay, so Ms. Singer, can you notate for your notes that the presentation didn't occur today? I know Dr. Bus may remember, but sometimes I don't. So I just want to make sure we don't overlook it, that he needs to do it on the, I think that's that 12. Okay. Is it the 10th? Hold on.
Yeah.
10th, okay. Okay, so we're gonna proceed. Up next, we have our student support services update. Ms. Nichols, you're not at the end today?
Yes. Good evening. Thank you for not being at the last, basically, today. Okay, so updates from Student Support Services. First, I want to let you all know we're going to have our fall culture and climate surveys for our students, our family, and our staff. I did provide the actual surveys examples for you all to review. And we should have the results of these in February. So just so you are aware of that. Next is our athletics department update. We have some congratulations to go to our students. So Latrell Johnson, for football, he made first team in the Lakeland Conference Fall Awards. So he was for offensive and defensive. Timothy London, offensive, and Overtus, excuse me, Franklin. Overtus, thank you, Franklin. Defense, and I have my name is Cleather, so people get mine wrong too. Damani McBride, defensive. And then we had our honorable mention, Brian Broyles, Jaden Hutcherson, Maurice Ford, Marquell Johnson, and Messiah Lacy. So those were our football. Yeah, it's a huge congratulations. And then volleyball. We had honorable mention for Lovely Douglas and Montiana Duckett.
Awesome.
And for you all to be able to come and support, because our basketball season, season has started. I provided you something in your packets there.
Was that the pass?
Yes.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome. Like this. Okay, next is from our family engagement and community events. So December is literacy. So we're focusing on literacy with our building. So at Fairplain East, it's the holiday literacy and math night. And at MLK, so that's on December 10th at 6 o'clock. And then we have MLK for the holiday literacy night, and that's on December 12th from 5 to 7. And then Discovery Enrichment Center, it's always magical at Discovery. And that's on December 11th from 5 to 7.
So the surveys that are in the book that's following your update, these are examples of the surveys that the students are taking?
Yeah, so it's several. I can put on a screen here. So say for instance, Discovery Enrichment Center. Do you have okay. So this one is similar to the MLK. So I don't know if this is the example that you have in there. Yes. So this is for the students, and then we have one for staff. So if you see the school personnel, it'll say PBIS, Positive School Climate Survey for school personnel. So yes, these are the examples, but they will be, so the ones that are for staff and secondary and our elementary, that is online. So they will be submitting those surveys online.
Okay, and then my last question, do we have any incentives for return of the surveys?
So we are working on that because it's starting back in December, the first 2 weeks in December. So we are working on incentivizing.
All right, any other questions from the board? Trustee Gavin?
Thank you so much. Thank you, Director Nichols. What I would encourage us to consider, I mentioned it before, is, when you look at surveys and their usefulness, right? I know that, it's good that we're doing surveys, and what I would recommend is that we consider an opportunity for students and staff to be able to do daily, have the option to do daily exit surveys. That way we can take that information and make corrections real time. Sometimes if we do a survey and we don't get the results until several months later, we don't really have an opportunity to address the concern of the students and the staff. But if we create some type of system, just like, corporations do it all the time. If we create some type of system that will allow our students and staff and parents really to give input real time, they may give us solutions, ideas, concerns, and we can address them real quickly. So really excited about the student success, congratulating the athletes, and that we are collecting data, and just offering a recommendation that we consider collecting data, creating some type of system that will allow us to analyze the data quicker so that we can make those adjustments real time. Thank you.
All right, any other comments or feedback? Secretary Triplett?
Yeah, I'm just kind of confused a little bit when I look at student services, the roles and responsibilities of student services. When I looked at the job description, I'm seeing things that are being presented that was not a part of the job description. So I just need some clarification. I did not know the student services was over athletics. I did not know the student services was over security. And I really have a problem with the fact that The student services director is over athletics when you have a principal, and the athletic director is an assistant in the building of the principal at this high school. And so it just, to me, it undermines the work of the principal. And it have them up top reaching down into school business. And I brought this question up earlier in the year. And every time certain people become the athletic director that don't want to sit up under a specific person, then I don't know who makes these decisions, but we need to look as a board. If I am the principal at this high school, the athletes come up under me. These are my students, and the assistant principals and the staff and everything should be up under that principal. I feel like it's undermining of the role. I'm not talking about the individuals that's in it. Also, when we talk about, and hopefully in the very near future, that we will identify a director of campus safety and school security, because we front like that's a precedent, and we're going to put a camera system in, bam, with no leadership. And I think that when I think of student services, I guess it must be a broad umbrella. So I'm not clear. And I also think on behalf of them, because when when the student services person presented what was happening as it related to literacy in the school, it kind of threw me off, because we do have a director of curriculum. And so I just don't know how all of these people are in all of these different spaces and places. And that's not on you, Director Nichols. And I do appreciate your efforts. Let me preface it with that. But I also think that that it's too much cross, and it's just not clear. And I hope, hopefully, as we close out as a Board of Education, the majority of us will be returning to the Board of Education. So those are some things that we need to look at, and because when I see students you serving students, and it can be very broad, but you can also overload a person. And we cut their pay. We did the roles they're paid a lot less than the chiefs. And it seems like they just have so many more responsibilities being added on, people just making it up. So we need some clarification on structure. But thank you so much for what you are doing. And I do appreciate the professionalism in which you move forward. Ms. Nichols.
All right, so just speaking to that, I'm not sure how it was beforehand, but I know the student support services piece and everything that comes under it was developed when the previous superintendent created the position. He lumped everything under there. Or what was the Mr. Miller
Yeah,
had those things.
yeah, we
So
got the athletic reports. That's what we got.
So we can always look at what duties fall. I know that we are gonna have to have a conversation about restructuring and what school looks like in the upcoming year. And so those are some things that we can discuss at that time. The overlapping of the job descriptions, whether the current roles have too much under them, if we need to tear them apart or switch, change, or rearrange it, we have the time to do that. So thank you so much for your presentation. I like having you up top. I don't think it's fair that you sit through everything and then by the time you get to your presentation, we're tired and not as engaged, and you're giving us really good stuff. So we'll switch it up each meeting so that everyone gets an opportunity to have us when we're still full of energy and excited. So we're gonna pass it on to teaching and learning. I'm not sure if the curriculum and sped committee had any other updates beyond the presentation that we were provided, or can we pass it over to Ms. Kupch?
Just basically with the teaching and learning, again, we did go through, had a great, I think we had a great meeting. I'm looking forward to working with Director Cusp on some areas. She did go through a narrow, and at this particular time, just on the 21st century proposal, it was my understanding that we were not going to take a vote on this tonight.
Not tonight.
Yeah, the purpose of this was to bring it to our colleagues so that you guys would have a visual and also have an opportunity to review what's being submitted, what have you. And I would like to turn the floor over to Trustee Gavin, just give us a brief thing before Director Cuss comes with what she presented. What's your thoughts on what the presentation was Century 21?
Okay, I was impressed. Um, I've, from a former teacher's perspective, what was presented took them about, I don't know, 10 minutes to do. That was developing a lesson like that with the supplemental materials in a way that would inspire learners. Probably would have taken me at least, a few days to pull together, what took about 10 minutes. And so when I think about, a teacher having to differentiate the lesson, having to make sure that it is interesting and scaffolded for different learners, making sure that they are challenged, making sure that it's an up-to-date lesson and has the videos and the media support and all of that, the rubric and, all of those materials and time that it takes to develop the lesson, and not to mention the platform also. It looked to me like the platform has a place to maintain their grades. It does the lesson plan. Teachers need to be able to focus on delivering that lesson. And to me, this is a program that allows students to really be engaged and learn and step into the 21st century, whether you're a special a student in special education, or whether you are a student in, more of your higher level classes. And as a parent, I just looked at it like, okay, there are times when my son is bored. There's times when he's finished with his work sitting there. And this is an opportunity for him to actually be able to, be engaged. And so I'm impressed with it. I'm impressed with the technology. I just hope, that we will make sure that we provide the education technology support to make sure that it can be delivered with fidelity. So I'm in support with the program and the presentation, and I think it will make the lives of teachers a lot easier. And the fact that they can come out of this with a certification from Howard University, of course, I'm going to be impressed with that, especially with the different levels of teachers, certified and non-certified, that we have here, and just the whole STEM, the engineering piece, that design thinking mind frame. Our students will be on another level if it's executed properly.
Okay, thank you. If there's no objections from the board, I would like for Director Cups to actually just begin with the 21st century education proposal with T1. That way we can kind of continue this conversation, if at all, and then we'll proceed. You can go back to the top since we're already on this subject, if that's okay with you. Your hair looks nice today, by the way.
Thanks. Do you want me to read T1?
Yep, just present T1.
The reason for board consideration: the Board of Education shall approve all textbooks or contracts used as part of the educational program of this district. Purchases over $28,048 need board approval according to the most recent State of Michigan Department of Education threshold. Facts and analysis: the district is prepared to purchase 21st Cent Ed to help achieve two key goals: reducing chronic absenteeism and improving academic performance as measured on local, state, and national assessments over 3 years. By combining personalized interventions, enriched learning opportunities, STEM-based SEL programs, and community-driven events, 21st Cent Ed STEM education system offers a cohesive framework for continuous improvement. Policy reference 6320 purchasing and 2210 curriculum development. Funding source is ESSER 3. Strategic plan reference: academics, Benton Harbor area schools will increase student achievement as measured on local, state, and national assessments. Recommended action: that the Benton Harbor area schools Board of Education votes to approve the purchase of 21st Cent Ed comprehensive STEM education system as presented, totaling $1,333,118.
All right, so for some reason this says interim. You got something you want to tell us on this report, Dr. Buck? Say interim superintendent.
That was done a while back.
Oh, okay. Tell me some. Okay, go ahead.
We've been in talks about, before I brought this to you, if you recall, when I first became interim, you charged me with making sure I vet stuff early before I brought it. So we've been talking for a little over a year now. So
All
it
right.
was, yes.
Okay. Okay, so we've heard from Secretary Triplett and Trustee Gavin that they both were highly impressed with this program. I would say that they probably are two of the most difficult people to have highly impressed. So to have them both highly impressed to me is something that's extremely positive. You all are in support of the investment in the 1,333,118.
Yes,
Well,
I
in
am.
support.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it being difficult, but I'm not gonna play no games. You're gonna just bring the money for your friends.
Exactly.
You're not gonna get your friends no change on the side. If it's not gonna affect, if it don't make sense, it will not happen. Not under my watch. And so people can, and I'm not being shady
Yeah,
or
it wasn't
anything.
shady.
I
I
know it
didn't mean
wasn't shady, but I mean, for real, I just, for real. I felt it in my heart. I felt it in my soul. As we talked about yesterday, if you guys could have witnessed, Trustee Gavin just put the topic in, bam, 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 bam. Like you said, in 10 minutes, it was great. We do not have a curriculum per se. The system that we have purchased right now, or that our teachers are working on, is going to give us a lot of good data as to where our students are. But this will now, when we move to this will bring our teachers back to the table as we're talking about aligning our curriculum in this district at grade level, cross-reference conversations, where we can, and they are aligned with the standard. We will no longer allow anyone, not even the teachers, to lowball our kids, to say, well, they can't, this thing about if you guys pay attention, that people just, oh, they read at a third grade level. Everybody just say that. It's just like a third grade level. And from a historical perspective, they can never, you can't measure that. Oh, you got somebody, my child is in the 5th grade, he's reading at 12th grade level. Okay. Those were put together by textbooks to sell to school districts to say that they have the information and data in there to let you know what grade level these kids are reading at. You can keep on playing and saying these kids can't read. And we also talked about some serious gap analysis. Why can't they read? Well, of course you won't be able to read if you have substitute teachers 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, and 4th grade. Okay, let's have some real conversations. Stop playing. And we still need, if you teach 4th grade, you need to be teaching 4th grade work, regardless of where they are, and get them there. Because I've never heard, every now and again, you might hear, but I've never heard rigor. I've never heard high expectations. Our students are excelling in colleges and universities despite the quality of education that we've provided for them from this community. And so I think that this is something that will empower our teachers as well, because we have teachers that have been boots on the ground forever. And every time we shift at the top, everything shifts. We throw the bathtub out with the bath water. And what we do is we really disrespect our teachers and their commitment to the school district and their knowledge in the actual classroom of what is expected. So yeah, any kind of support, if you can do your homework, I just say it's absolutely amazing. Also, turning back over to curriculum director Cusp. At this point, I can just let her go through and give you the update on, I don't want to take your thunder, and I appreciate having the opportunity. You have your feet on the ground now, you guys, and I want to thank you too for coming in and navigating through. We got some things that we need to work through, but I believe that we will be able to work through those things. But it's one thing for me, as our president stated, and we didn't get to elaborate on it. If there's anything that we don't have in place and we're not prepared and ready for it, it's okay. It's not, it will never be against any of you all sitting over at that table. We don't have it, we don't have it. You don't have to feel any kind of pressure that because we're expecting something from you. No, we can work through that. But if you don't have it, you don't have it. And so again, we have to be able to trust what it is that you all say to us, because we are not a part of the day-to-day operation. But we do hear from our teachers, we do hear from our parents, we do hear from our community. And we hear from them on a regular basis more than anybody would ever know in some instances, okay? So I turn it over, Trustee Gavin, do you have anything else?
If possible, I would like to add, in that short period of time, and I said a few days, it really would take several weeks
Yeah.
to develop
Yeah.
what they developed within those few minutes. I asked them to create, they had to create 3 modules for business management, introduction to business management and fashion, how teach the students how to create and develop a business plan, their financial plan, conduct, competitive analysis. This is a high level of learning. And then I told them to also make sure that they incorporate case studies that included African-American entrepreneurs. And it put out, a case study on Damon John, for the founder of FUBU, Oprah Winfrey's story, Tyler Perry's story, right? And so I'm not just going to, endure. I was actually like, at first I was like, okay, who are they? What are they about? What do they want? That was my mindset at first. But when they actually showed me the tool and showed me how this tool works and how we can use this and how it could really take our students to the next level with the gaps that we have in our district, I recognize that as long as we do what we're supposed to do on our end, and we have to do that.
We have
to make
Yes.
sure that we have somebody in education technology who's going to make sure that this is implemented with fidelity. But as long as we do what we are supposed to on our end, our students will be engaged and they will be on another level. So to me, it is worth the investment as long as we do what we're supposed to do on our end.
Trustee Rocketmore?
Yes, my question is this, for that 1.5 million, how many years do we own this? Will we own it?
Yeah,
Or
you're
it's
talking,
just for 3 years?
you're talking to us, not to him. We just,
Okay.
as a committee, you weren't there. So,
I'm asking.
yeah, no, he's not a part of this conversation. We at the board
Wait a minute.
right now.
No,
But
I'm asking, she asked me.
we can answer it because we were there if you would give us that.
Yeah.
It's a 3-year contract, okay? Everything that they develop, it goes into a library. It's ours.
Right, that's
And
what
they
I
can, yeah, I'm telling you, I'm here as the chairman of the curriculum committee,
but I didn't ask.
but you should have.
No.
He's,
I'm letting you know.
so right
It's
now,
not a part of discussion from the floor.
Secretary Triplett has the floor as the chair. So that's why, no, he gave you the chair. So he's the curriculum chair. He's chairing the meeting. That's why he's trying to answer your question. He has not given him the floor.
Right, I'm
So
just
he's
saying.
chairing right
Yeah,
now.
we discussed all of this,
Okay.
okay? And so what it is that all of this stuff belongs to us. And then after, we talked about the 5-year plan and what have you, we said, no, we want to see what you do the first year. We go into the contract and negotiation. That's why we wanted you all to look at it so you could see it and say, are there any options if it does, but if it's not working, if it's not doing out there, is there any window for us to make some adjustments and changes? Because like I said, we have a lot of turnover. So basically, yes, everything that we have within those 3, it belongs to Ben Harbor Area School, all of it.
For eternity?
Yes, it belongs to Ben Harbor Area Schools.
Okay, so after
we
3
hope it's
years,
right.
you won't be pulling it back.
No, we won't. And hopefully, and then this is another thing. It will give our teachers, and this is what we be working on the curriculum committee. Our teachers will be teaching, if you teach 4th grade, you will be teaching 4th grade material, period. But it also has things in there to assist those who might need assistance because we can't hold back everybody. And if everybody in this school district cannot read, then why do we need them? If teachers are teaching every day and kids can't read, then we got to look at it in a different manner. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over to Director Cuss, and she's just doing a presentation to bring us up to what we'll be doing for the meeting of 10th.
You have the floor.
There is a document in your packet that outlines the changes to the proposed changes to the course guide. The course guide is also included. We use the suggesting feature in the document, but I went through and highlighted as well to draw your attention to each one of those proposed changes. Some are related to just secretarial sorts of changes because of the change of staff. Some are related to grade level and prerequisites based on need and practice within the building. There are some added courses to give more electives, also pre-algebra to help us better prepare the students with prerequisite math skills. There is also additional courses for school to career is listed specifically for students to sign up for. Also teacher aid and office aid to give seniors the opportunity to have leadership roles in the building. This was a collaborative effort with middle school and high school and CAPE counselors and administrators. We also had a training session with Rochelle Bowerman from MDE, who is the Michigan Merit credit guru. She is the only person at MDE that is the expert on credits. So some of the changes you'll see are reflective of that information that she presented. One specifically would be world language. I'll paraphrase what she said, but basically it's either 0 credits or 2 credits. There is no 1 credit when it comes to the requirements for world language. So the requirement to earn those 2 credits is to have a novice level of proficiency, which is about a 4 to 5 year old language proficiency. So that you'll see that change for both Swahili and Spanish.
Okay, so Swahili still has it as 1 credit, so that's gonna be updated to 2?
So Swahili 2, Spanish 2, French 2 would be 1 credit, but the first level of the course is 2 credits.
Okay, okay.
Director Cuff, this what we asked her to do was for you all to, the highlighted areas, the crossed out areas are the areas that they have taken out of the manual.
Okay.
When we get ready to vote for it at the next board meeting, that stuff will not be in there. You would get the final copy of what it is.
The highlighted area has both the change and what would be removed.
And some
Yes.
areas with the green lines, that's what's being taken out.
Yes.
So when you go through and look, so please go through and look. I know we did talk about the career and technical education, and thank you for bringing for putting those sheets in our folders as well. If you guys will look in our folders where you got in the back, now you can see the Ben Harbor High School Career and Tech Education. These are the things that are at Ben Harbor High School. And then on this sheet right here is the sheet where all of the other schools like graphic arts is at St. Joe High School, automotive is at Lakeshore, EMT is at Bering Springs, and Countryside has agriculture and natural resources. Many of these programs were at Benton Harbor High School once upon a time. And in the transition of dismantling, these programs were taken away. Okay, and I'm going to speak my truth and my understanding. Okay, so and that it was a countywide effort, but it was also an inside job as well. But now we have to be looking at, we can't continue to look back, we have to move forward. How can we do, what is it we can do within the guidelines of CTE? Director Arlene Wilson is a part of it, and I have asked the superintendent to make sure that she is a part of this. When we're talking about curriculum and what have you, that she be a part of the discussion, be a part of our meetings, and what have you. I also want to say to Director Cuff that oftentimes when it's reported from central administration that teachers and principals were a part of this process, do you guys have any documentation of minutes where or meetings where you met with these people? How many times you meet with these people, and with their signatures on it when we have those type of professional development? Because we're hearing one thing from our central administration office, and our staff is saying that these things have not happened and have not transpired. So if there's any documentation so that we can make an informed decision. You have records when you all got together to discuss this curriculum with the high school principal, the middle school principal, even if it was last year. If you have any kind of documentation so that we can be clear, because we don't really know what to do. You know, when they're saying, you guys are saying that we've done this, and they're saying that this did not happen. So we want to make sure that everybody is on the same page. So I'll give it to our record on that, Dr. Buck.
Thank you, sir. And I just wanted to say with the book that I just gave you all, that goes with the presentation that Dr. Jordan gave from 21st Century Ed. It's a book that was compiled from Suffolk, Virginia. And it is a book that documents, it's a documentary of the program. So if voted in at the next board meeting, each of you will be given a chance to write a chapter in the book documenting how this process goes through Benton Harbor. So those are your books to read that they've donated to you all.
So kind.
You gave us some homework.
Yes, Madam President.
Just want to make sure I understand.
So you can go ahead, Director Cuss.
She's done.
Okay, your district testing schedule?
We just provided that
Okay.
for reference. The state assessment is already set. And then the additional assessments are scheduled out to reflect the need for progress monitoring and benchmarking to judge the efficacy and help to inform decisions for classroom teachers.
So were you able to put that in writing, the district testing schedule as we discussed yesterday, or can we have that before?
It is in,
It's
it
right
should be in
in
your
here.
packet.
Okay.
I have a question. Two questions. One is, have we considered any kind of tutoring for students? Like after-school tutoring, anything like that for our students? And secondly, how important is it for our classes to meet the NCAA standards for certification, for being able to count?
So the first question for the after-school tutoring, we do have the extended day, 2 days a week for elementary and the opposing 2 days of the week for secondary. We also have varsity tutors that Ms. Nichols could give more information about. I believe she's talked about that before. Your other question was about the NCAA requirements.
Because
Those are just noted in there for students who have interest in pursuing D1 athletics. There's specific course requirements that have to be checked off for eligibility. So for example, the CTE construction trades class doesn't meet any of those NCAA requirements, but it doesn't mean that it isn't a valuable learning experience for the student.
Okay.
I suppose you could correlate the NCAA requirements to kind of a traditional list of college entrance transcripted courses.
Okay. Thank you.
I have a question that I didn't get a chance to ask earlier, if it's okay. It's pertaining to the 21st Century Ed proposal. The language of the staff report says that it is going to counter or help us with absenteeism. And so I just want to understand how you see this program doing that. And it could be from you or
Thank you, Madam President. Essentially, it is the engagement.
okay.
Kids are so excited. And when we bring that STEM Fest into the district to have 60 different areas of STEM galvanizing the community, you will see and feel that excitement from parents and students. And as the design thinking of how it is getting the students' voice and choice, now they are totally engaged. They're rolling up their sleeves in these classrooms as they're deeply involved in their learning. And they want to come to school because they're excited to learn.
Madam President.
Yes, sir.
I want to apologize to Trustee Rocket Martin because just the thing that I said that we were doing in the report, it just flipped around and happened. So I want to apologize to you, my colleague, And that's what I'm saying. We're gonna have to, protocol and things have to be established and must be followed at all levels, from the top to the bottom. But if you have any other questions as well, but we did talk about the attendance piece
Okay.
yesterday. And that's something everybody throwing away. Okay, y'all got an attendance problem, so let's know how we gonna help you with
Yeah,
the
and that's why I
attendance.
just want to make sure that
Well, we were very candid
okay.
and saying that ain't gonna help with our attendance problem, because with our attendance problem is people ain't taking attendance. Okay, so the records ain't being kept properly. The attendance problem is how you taking attendance when you have so many staff that's not even on Power School. And you have substitute teachers in there. Let's have a real conversation, because the attendance might not be correct. Okay, and so so that right there is a completely different thing. But hopefully that they will be enthused enough to be able to say that I want to be there.
Mhm.
Okay, I want to be there. So again, but like we did talk very straight up, Madam President. Don't
Okay.
come in there just trying to throw no stuff in there about you're gonna help with attendance. That is not gonna help. They can be there every day. Some classrooms, the attendance is not taken.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. Let's keep
Thank
it
you
real.
very much. All right, so we're gonna keep it moving. Up next, we have Human Resources. Do we have an HR committee update at this time? Or
Madam
we're gonna defer
President,
to
due
Mr.
to the-
McDermott? Go ahead.
Madam President, due to the holiday, we would be meeting this week. We're not going to be meeting. So therefore, we will not discuss the report until the next.
The
meeting.
12-10 meeting.
So we're going to go ahead and skip that whole process if we can into the next meeting.
You have the floor for staff report H1.
Thank you, Madam President. Staff report H1. Employment of staff. Subject for board consideration to approve the employment of staff in accordance with the revised school code and other general laws of Michigan. Name a large. Okay. Facts analysis. It is recommended that the board approve the superintendent's recommendation for the hire of the following personnel. Policy reference 3120, 4120, employment of professional and support staff. Strategic plan goal reference, personnel leadership. Benton Harbor Area Schools will recruit, hire, develop, and retain the best staff to improve student outcomes. Today, presenting for hire, Mr. Tarante Townsend for the position of Athletics Administrative Assistant here at Benton Harbor High School, effective 12/2/2024. Recommended action that the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education votes to approve the employment of the aforementioned staff.
Okay, this is a Mr. Townsend. Okay.
Yes.
So
Go, Vice President Barnes. Were you wanting to, you didn't want, I'm sorry, I might have misunderstood. So you didn't
Yeah.
want to go over the HR?
I mean, I guess we can go over it, but we haven't discussed, this is all new.
This new fresh to everybody?
Yes.
Okay. So we are not taking any votes. So what trustee Bowens Vice President Bowens is wanting it to be clear to the table is that the HR committee has not reviewed the hires that are noted. However, we will have met and we'll be reviewing the recommendations at that time, but the board has seen them as well. So they'll come back for board table. And then you have your H2. If you want to just in lieu of what the chair has said, the staff, our board can take a look at H2. Mr. McDermott will be presenting 2 individuals for hire. And then for H3, there's 1 resignation that'll be presented December 10th. There are no answers that the HR committee has at this time. However, if you guys have questions, you can ask Mr. McDermott now, or we can send those questions via email prior to our December 10th meeting.
So-
Trustee Gavin.
Question is, and I may have mentioned it before, just in regards to the resumes.
Remembering the resumes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that when we make these decisions, the resumes are available to HR. And so I'm hoping that when they're presented to us, that they can be provided electronically. So that we can review them before we're at the table. Is
So
it
can you get that
possible?
sent out? You guys are on vacation, right? Now for the holiday?
Noted.
So can you get those sent to us Monday? That would be
I
what,
can
the
do it,
first?
but I can make sure you have it in your email before we leave tonight.
Okay,
Thank you. And just moving forward, if we can just
just have them along with them. Okay, Secretary Triplett.
Yeah, I'm looking here. So we got new hires, then we got transfers that's within. So,
You want it
So-
separated?
no. These
Oh,
are,
okay.
this right here is a new hire, and I see the transfers.
Mhm.
And then I see the actual resignation, the actual resignation. The transfers, so we're looking at, Sarah Cadet
Correct.
Mhm.
is going to be transferred from teaching EL at Ben Harbor High School to teaching kindergarten. Y'all making me nervous. To teaching kindergarten.
If I can share a little bit, because I did get permission from everyone's name mentioned here to share.
Proceed.
These are voluntary. These employees requested
Oh.
a transfer.
So again, I'm struggling with this from this division. When the high school has several vacancies in core area. And people are making requests when, the state came in and said your students at the high school were not proficient in mathematics, and you take a math teacher and make her an instructional leader because that's what they want to do. Or I just say, hey, I want to go down to kindergarten. And then you just leave the English department vacant. I'm just questioning. I'm just concerned about, and again, I want it to be perfectly clear to the superintendent and everybody else that worked in the school district. This is the thing they tried to close. This is the place they tried to do the damage.
Mm-hmm.
Hear me,
High school.
all of it. And I mean this from my soul. And I'm watching your moves. I'm watching your moves because now we have one less English teacher at this high school. So how many certified English teachers do we have at this high school? And just because people say, well, I want to do so-and-so, this is where we need you right now. I know you have right of assignments and all of these different things, but this is very, that's concerning to me. And it looks like it's a lot of things that are happening at this high school with personnel and all types of things that's becoming very concerning to me. I just want to put that on the record, but I appreciate this right here, us being able to have these discussions. And when we talk about resignations, extended resignations that people are resigning, why doesn't it happen immediately? And put someone in an interim basis? I mean, these are discussions or what have you. We can't pick and choose because again, I'm going to say this in our closeout, Madam President. It's like 30 seconds in between the removal and the termination of people who work in this district who from Ben Harbor. It happens immediately on site, on scene. And any other position, any other place, any other space, it's a long drawn out situation. So I don't know if you guys could discuss that, or I could talk to the superintendent about my concerns in these matters that are pressing here.
Vice President Bowens.
Secretary Triplett, we duly note your concerns.
Thank you, sir.
When we have our HR meeting, that we have not had to be at liberty to go through this and discuss this and the vacancies and everything, we will get that up to you next week. With the follow-up, Marvin, can you please make note to Secretary Triplett's concerns? And we will get that follow-up. Also, I would like, Dr. Butts, if there's any legal legal ramifications when a person resigns. Can they stay, or can we say, well, we want to take your resignation right now? Are we at liberty? So those are some of the topics we'll be discussing at our HR meeting to bring to you guys and give you guys that report.
And I want to state for the record that is just a thing that we are researching.
Yes.
We are in no way implying that is something that we desire to do. It's just a general question being asked.
Right.
That is correct.
President Robinson, can I just add one thing?
Sure.
Our administrative contracts read, when someone is leaving, they need to give the district 30-day notice.
Thank you very much.
Just wanted to add that.
All right, and so then we have our standard update on vacancy positions. Mr. McDermott, Director McDermott likes to provide us with an access link to that so that we can see them at each of our meetings. So I know that Secretary Triplett asked a question about, our gaps at the high school. This should be current as it stands, Mr. McDermott, for him to be able to look into that information if he'd like. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, so up next, we have facility.
President Rivers,
You have the floor.
Real brief, I know that the office manager position was covering like a lot of roles. And with that transition, is this position going to be posted? Are they looking to fill it within? Who's going to cover, all those other duties?
That's a good question.
As the transition takes place?
Thank you. So the goal is, pending the board's vote, if the transfer goes through, we will then post the business office manager position open to the public for anyone to apply.
Got you. Thank you.
So, follow up to trustee Gavin's question, are some of the duties, because I know that, Ms. Brock Carter was doing kind of triple duty with her role. Are some of those duties gonna be removed from the office manager role now? If she does get the promotion, will it be edited, altered slightly? Or is that still up to be determined?
Could you repeat that question? I want to.
So what I'm asking is, I know that she was doing triple duty. So if she is promoted to director of finance, the position as it stands, is it gonna remain the same, or are the duties gonna be decreased for whoever comes into the role?
As of right now, the position will remain the same. Ms. Brock Carter has been doing the roles of the business office manager and the director or previous CFO.
Okay, so
they're
that's
two
why she's
separate
kind of
roles,
double
which is
duty.
correct.
Okay. All righty. All right, so we're gonna move forward. I just noticed Director Dash is absent. I don't know how I did not notice that prior. Okay, so facilities committee update, Secretary Triplett, are you providing that today?
Yes.
The general update?
Just basically, we did, if you look in he sent out, supposed to be submitted in here, but he did give us updates on the track and field. How it was coming. It's moving along, foundation and stuff has been laid. And what have you, you can go out there and you can look at it. We did talk about also what's happening as it relates to the gym, with the gym floor and the facilities around the gym in its entirety. We are concerned about the cleanliness and of our locker rooms for our visitors and what have you. When people don't want to come, we don't want people to come to our school and don't feel comfortable. If they want to take showers, so we'll make sure all of that is, he's checking into that. We did talk about signage and what have you, some of our concerns about how the aesthetics of how our school and our high school look. We also, I thought he was going to send this in, Dr. Buck.
I have it.
Do you have the
He did,
information
he shared it, so.
with you?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he share it with the board?
He did not. I'm looking at it now.
So what we can do is we can get that update at the regular board.
That'll be fine.
Okay.
The facilities committee does not have anything that they're voting on at the next board meeting, but we can send that stuff.
Okay, so if it's great things in store, then we can save that update for the regular board meeting if no one has any objections. Vice President Bowman?
Yes, I have several questions on the facilities committee. I looked at the track field and it was beautiful. The work that's.
Aren't you on this committee?
I've been told
Okay,
that it's
go
not a
ahead.
democracy, so I decide not to go. The track field I've noticed is bigger than normal. Is that?
One monkey don't stop the show.
Are you calling me a monkey?
No, absolutely not.
Okay, I have the floor.
Mhm.
The track field looks bigger than what it normally is. Is that making our field shorter, or is that any requirements with our kids doing football?
Actually, what we had to do was, because of the drainage, it's not bigger. We shifted it over 4 feet.
Mhm.
It had to be shifted in order for, in order to ensure proper drainage because of the big hill that comes down.
Mhm.
So it just shifted over 4 feet.
So, and they're gonna do another layer of asphalt on that, correct? Because it
Well,
looks uneven when you
They're
walk.
gonna put the top layer, so the asphalt is over the rock, the rock portion. So as you got the soil, you got the rock, you got the asphalt, and then we got to put the topping on it. So the top is where for the athletes to run on, is the turf actually. And then they'll paint it and line it, etc. So that's the last, that and install a new, because of the drainage and the shift in the field, in the track, we're gonna have to install a new sprinkler system for the football field, but it was built into the contingency fund. So everything is, we have not gone over budget. So everything will be completed this spring and on track for.
Okay, now, when you're driving on Empire, back in the day, you could drive by and you could see graduation, you could see the football games. It's weeds. I hope in the spring that we make sure that if we could burn it down, I don't know, making sure that it's gone. Also, another question is, I love the gym floor, the gym and everything. But my question is, does the district intend to fix the locker rooms? And when I say fix them, make them modernized.
We'll follow up on that.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm still, as chairman of the facilities committee, which I am the official chairman of the facility committee. Those are things that you could ask at the facilities meeting if you would come. And those are areas that we've talked about since Director Dash has gotten his footing and what have you. We've given our new directors an opportunity to get their footing. Everybody's feet are planted now. It's getting ready to snow, so they'll be able to have some footprints. Hopefully they'll be able to resonate throughout this community. So those are issues. So once again, I know it's very difficult. You can't lead if you can't follow. And so sometimes people struggle with that. And I make an asserted effort to be able to follow to the best of my ability, regardless to who's at the helm. So we did get some business taken care of, Madam President. And that information that the superintendent gave, that information was given at the facilities committee meeting when the transition had to be made about the shift in the water and all of that stuff. So we'll make sure that the committee do their due diligence, and I will make sure, Vice President Bowens, that I bring you up to speed, sir, on what it is that you have missed by your lack of participating.
I apologize for not participating, but I will tell you, we've only had 2 meetings out of 30 of the years. So I think that's a representation of our leadership of that committee.
I know, and Madam President, I'll close out on that. I'm still waiting for the HR, any type of documentation from HR. Note who was there, any minutes, anything. So thank you
We
so
give
much.
minutes.
Okay, so we're gonna take a pause. And take a pause. I think we've had more than 2 meetings.
Yeah.
I know I've been on more than 2 myself. I missed this past Friday due to a funeral. Trustee Gavin?
Thank you, President Robinson and Chair Triplett. My question is about, I don't know if it's a question for Secretary Triplett or if it's for Dr. Butts. It's regarding the driver's education. I think it's a program that was set to start earlier this year. We're still not there yet. And I'm wondering, is it possible, one, to have, because it's something that's so important, is it something that can be included in the regular updates? And two, I'm just a little confused in terms of, it sounded like there was some company that we were talking to who said that they were able to, train the trainers, and then we're putting our RFPs and there's no, response to them. So I'm confused, because if we were already talking to a company before we even did that, why, what is preventing us from being able to move forward? That's one. Why aren't they responding to the RFP? And then two, how soon can we put something together so that we can vote on whether or not that service is going to be provided at no charge to the students or not?
So Dr. Butts, also, who who is in charge? Is this under, would that be under facilities? We're talking about the driver's education component. Who is this actually under? Is it under curriculum or is it under facilities?
It was previously under Mr. Corson, who was over facilities, student support service, et cetera. It has fallen under my purview. We did put it out, the RFP. I have been speaking with those companies. I'm gonna re-put out an RFP to make sure we some of the requirements we had were a little bit stringent for them to be able to comply with. But I've been researching, so there are some ways, there is some wiggle room that we can do, and I'll be reposting those so that the original start date was this spring, and we are still on target for that.
Okay, so I guess like, and with, but we can talk offline to make sure it needs to be up under a specific area so that
Correct.
so that we can talk instead of just it being you that's handling it.
Thank you.
It falls up on one of those categories and however you place it. But in all sincerity, Vice President Bowens and we do clown a lot on here with the work that we're doing. We have been through a lot of serious transition, with things changing with our from chiefs to directors, from June to August, finding people, putting people in place, giving people an opportunity to get their footing. They weren't ready. In many instances, just like we got with losing chief financial officer, business manager having to step in and get those things. Those are not excuses, those are reality. And so I think that, for the most part, I feel this has really like been my second official meeting with facility and not as a committee. And this is really my first initial committee meeting with curriculum since this started. And so one thing that I'm not going to do, I'm not going to force anything for anybody. I'm going to give you the respect as the superintendent. And when you say they're ready or they're not ready, that's okay with me. But I think that it's unfair for us to put them in a position when they literally, it's almost like they got like this and y'all start running and just not to be shady or anything, but towards the end of June, people stop working. Prior to, at the beginning of June, people stop. And so we just dealt with a lot of things that we just don't discuss publicly, but it is a reality. So I think all of our committees, and then with the new board, which is basically our board, we'll be able to determine how we'll move forward, but the emphasis is going to be on us. So we will say, Dr. Buss, would this be under curriculum since it's driver's education? Would it be under curriculum or collaboratively with curriculum, facilities, and student service?
Let me give you an update so I make sure I won't overload. Let me
Right.
speak with the cabinet so no one will feel overloaded.
Okay, thank you.
Just a point of clarity. My question was also regarding whether or not that course would be for a fee or if it would be included as a part of the curriculum for free to students. At what point will we be able to make a decision on that? Is that something that we can do, in the immediate future? Do we have to wait until chosen the company? It sounded like you wanted to do it. And then, there was this, other back and forth. I guess what I'm wondering is, what does it take for us to be able to make a decision? Is that something that can be on the next agenda? Who decides in terms of pay for students?
So I'll give you a follow-up on that because I need to look and see how much was allocated. Make sure that the allocation in ESSER will allow for that.
I thought you said that we already
We
received
did.
additional funds from the state that would allow us to offer the program for free.
We got to so Gloria Chapman from OPD, Office of Partnership District, did say that we could put some of that in 21H. So I want to just make sure before I pre-speak, and I'd like to do a follow-up before I give any misleading narrative to that. I'm hoping that the hope is that we can offer it with no cost to the students.
Doctor, and I myself personally, that would be that should be the ultimate goal, that they don't pay a dime. We get millions of dollars, millions on top of millions of dollars, because our students qualify for not having money, having the funding. And so most of our programs is based on them not having money. It is not up to us. We don't need to teach them anything. If we can provide, I took driver's education at Ben Harbor High School in the 10th grade. I didn't pay a dime. It was a class. And so I would be 101%. I would not support it if they are even asked to pay 1 penny. So that's the direction we need to be looking in. How can it be fully funded? It'd be specifically for students only that attend Benton Harbor High School.
And I'm working with the RFP to try to make sure I finesse what you're asking.
Thank you.
Trustee Doyle.
I agree. I think it should be free for our students.
All right, so we are going to, I think that was a wrap up of facilities. If, go ahead, trustee, Raquel.
Madam President, are we gonna have a chance to discuss that before we vote on it?
Yeah, right now, there's nothing up for vote to vote. Yep, so we
As
will,
long as we get it.
yep, he will,
Yes.
whenever it comes back to the table, it'll be a full-fledged conversation and discussion and staff report that we'll be addressing. So right now, we're at business and finance. We have, I'm not sure if there's a member of the finance committee that would like to give an update today. If not, we can defer that to 12:10 and allow Ms. Brock Carter to provide the budget revision that she'll be reviewing with us.
Defer to 12:10 and allow Brock.
Okay, so you have the floor. After that, we done. We go into comments.
Thank you, Madam President.
We can't hear you, Mrs. Brock Carter. You speak louder.
Thank you, Madam President.
That's it. I can hear you now.
Thank you, Secretary Triplett.
Bless you.
I would like to present a budget revision on our 24-25 sinking fund budget. This budget revision is necessary due to our new school security system through BHAS. That project wasn't originally budgeted on our 24-25 initial budget. So now that that project is approved, we need to amend our budget so that we stay in compliance with budget requirements and that we have the correct sinking fund ending balance. So I just presented a slideshow on the revisions. I just wanted to kind of give a brief synopsis on what the sinking fund is and what it can be used for. Sinking fund is a levy, a tax levy on the taxable value of the real and personal property of the school district each year for the purpose of creating a sinking fund. Sinking funds can be used for the purchase of real estate, for sites, for the construction or repair of school buildings, for school security improvements, or for the acquisition or upgrading of technology. The next slide shows our original sinking fund budget. Our fund balance started at 10.22 million. We have a revenue estimate of 1.95 million from property tax and an expense estimate of 5.9 million, resulting in an ending fund balance of 6.27 million. That was our original budget. And the net change in the sinking fund was 3.9 million, 3.95 million. And with the budget revision, our beginning balance will remain the same. That is as of July 1st, 2024. Our revenue estimate is the same from property taxes. We haven't heard from our property tax authority that there'll be any changes in our revenue, but our expense estimate will increase due to the Verkada project. So that new expense estimate is now 7.5 million, ending the sinking fund balance at 4.67 million and a net change of 5.55 million. The next steps would be for the 24-25 sinking fund budget revision resolution, which is on staff report F1. I just want to read staff report F1 before I take any questions, if that's okay.
Go ahead.
The sinking fund reason
What is going on?
Reason for board consideration. The sinking fund budget has been revised to reflect updated revenue and expenditure estimates for the 24-25 fiscal year. Facts and analysis. The proposed budget revision reflects the new school security system improvements approved after the budget was adopted in June 2024. Policy reference is policy 6231 for budget implementation. The recommended action is that the Benton Harbor Area Schools Board of Education votes to approve as presented the 24-25 sinking fund budget revision. Does anyone have any questions?
Trustee Gavin?
Thank you. You said that the net change is negative?
Yes, that's just showing the fund balance is going to go down.
Okay, so the balance is 1,000,005. The comments had me a little confused.
I'm sorry. The ending fund balance as of 6/30/2025 on the budget revision will be 4.67 million. That will be the ending fund balance.
Okay, so I'm looking at this, it says sinking fund 1,000,05026.
That is the
Second.
portion of the Percata project that is going to be
Pulled from the sinking fund.
Yep,
Correct.
there are 4 digits in there. 5026 versus 3, 1,500,000. You see 1,000,000.
There you go.
Yeah, so is that?
I just corrected it if you want to refresh your screen.
Yeah, the
1,526 is what it should say, 526,000.
So $1,526,792.20.
so that 0 should not be in there.
Correct.
Okay.
Got you. Okay, so you're just saying that we're spending 5 million, but there's still a fund balance of 4.67 million.
We're going to spend 7.5 million. Are you looking on the budget revision slide number 4?
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to spend 7.5 million all together in the sinking fund with all of our projects. That is for the year estimate.
Okay. The net change to fund, can you just explain that a little bit?
Yes, that is the amount, that is the change, the amount of that the sinking fund balance is going to decrease. So we started with 10.22 million on July 1st, 2024. We're going to add an approximately 1.95 million.
Gotcha.
We're going to subtract 7.5 million, and that's going to leave a balance of 4.67 million. But the net change from the beginning balance to the ending balance is 5.55 million.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Made that so plain. Thank you.
That's why you sitting over there and we sitting over here.
Appreciate you.
Cause I was gonna act like I knew what she was talking about and ask her later after. Trustee Rockett.
And this is without the inclusion of the AI project, right? That hasn't been factored into this, right?
It's not
The
sinking.
AI project.
AI project.
That's 20% in, and that's interfunded.
ESSER funds.
Okay.
That's not from sinking funds. Sinking funds can only be used for certain purposes as indicated on slide 2.
Yeah, I was gonna act that.
You got tangled up trying to read.
Yeah, no, I just was, again. So when you talk about, and I think people need to understand when we talk about our sinking fund and how does that, when they talk about it come from taxes and what have you, it doesn't come from individual tax, like from people It's not added to their taxes or anything like that. It's just is this a part of the 18 mil?
Yes, it's a part of the
That's
meals.
just a standard, that's a standard, community approved. that.
Correct.
Yeah, for that. So people don't think, and this money has lied here dormant for some years. And as our district properties just fell down. And so again, just having an understanding of what you can use the sinking funds for. So when will they re-up, if you will?
They re-up every year. At the end of the school year, like around June or July, we get kind of a catch-up payment.
Mhm.
It's different from what we get on a regular basis. They kind of do an audit of all the properties and make sure everyone's paying what they're supposed to pay. And then we get like a lump sum payment around June or July.
And it'd be like about what on an estimate, about 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, 4 million, 5 million, anything like that? You have a general idea, or is that something you can check into?
I can check into it. I don't want to misspeak.
Right. So like for the, just historically, the last 5, 6 years, Harbor has been basically getting 5 million or 6 million that comes back into that sinking fund every year.
I can say just off the top of my head, I know it's at least 2 million.
Right. And so it builds up, and that's something that's just standard.
Correct.
Okay, so that's what I just want for the board, and making clear that when we have educational pieces that do not come out of the sinking fund, it wouldn't come out of the sinking fund.
Correct.
Not the bill. Yep. So thank you for that clarification and what the sinking fund is about.
You're welcome.
All right. So if there's no other questions, thank you to our directors and Ms. Brock Carter today for your reports. We've made it through fairly quickly. It's 8:29, so I'm gonna try to keep us going. Board retreats, I know we previously discussed trying to do, I think it was a meeting for last week. We weren't able to make that happen, but then I thought about the fact that we're getting ready to have a new board that is gonna go through a new storming and forming and norming, just one person. So it probably would make, that one person thrown into the mix might shake things up quite a bit. You never know.
I get shook up. Either or.
So,
Shake up or get shook.
so I think it would probably be effective that we as a board do our training pieces and our retreats with our formal new board so that we can learn each other and build on those team working and networking aspects that we need while we are forming with the change or adjustment in one board member. So I'm thinking just so that you guys can kind of play it ahead, your organizational meeting. So we have done them where we've merged them. We've done them where they've been they've been two separate things. I think that it would be best to have them be two separate. And so I'm looking at potentially a Tuesday, the 8th date as the organizational meeting where officers will be determined. And then that way you'll have your board meeting the following Tuesday. So if there's a shift in any officers, those individuals have an opportunity to prepare for their next board meeting. So those are just some throwing those dates out there, but I think that we should do our trainings and retreats once we have our new 7 starting in January. I didn't have Trustee Gavin.
Has the state offered a disposition about that decision?
We haven't even gotten a response yet
Okay.
from them, not a formal response.
So are we?
You mean like an appeal to not have it counted against, or?
Yeah, have we prepared any type of, formal requests that they reconsider the terms of that
Of it being
requirement?
all of us? Okay,
Yes.
okay.
And Madam President and Trustee Gavin, the partnership agreement, the 36-month within itself was going to require us to have 5 meetings anyhow.
Mhm.
Okay?
Yeah.
So, but they were saying that we would have
Done 2 up in the
2,
first, yeah.
and then the last on the tail end, it would be 3. So now that we did not, we still
gotta
would
do all
get
5.
36 months. We still would be, saying that we're within our parameters. So we do our organizational meeting and what have you. We can also put that and put our calendar in there. We can put those in there It might be, but I do, we do have, we were to go back in and look and see if there were any meetings since that where we had 7 of us, a workshop where we had 7 of us. But the majority of the workshop that we've had, we weren't qualified because it was only 6 people.
6 of us,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was 6. And you have to have 7. So we never did pull the actual data within that time, like within those 18 months.
Okay, so I can, and that was something you had tasked me with. I can go back and look at that.
What
I
would-
forgot to do that. Go ahead.
Yeah, what I would also like to add, one, if it's possible for them to be more flexible with the number, then the other meetings that we had could qualify.
Count.
And then the other thing is if the new board member and yeah, I don't think it's illegal to ask the new board member how he feels about committee of the whole. I don't know the rules, but if it's something that ends up being an interest of the board, it seemed like it would make sense to have a training that helps us to establish.
Understand what committee of the whole
that
is.
work that- And I'll just say real quickly, I know that, trustee Vice President Barnes asked, what others are doing. We just went to an MASB meeting and they were teaching, how to bring in new board members. And that school was saying that they are moving to committee as a whole. So I think it's where folks are moving.
Okay, we did a committee training a few years back. I think it might be CBA 232 or something like that. But there's nothing wrong with us going over doing that training because it may have changed because I know that MASB has kind of shifted the committees that it even suggests that you have. So that's a great idea of having that as a training option. Okay, so we're gonna keep it moving. Is there anyone here for open public comment? All right, I'm sorry, I didn't have any new business. No one is responding for open public comment, so we're gonna take it to superintendent announcements and comments, followed by board member announcements and comments, and it's 8:34, so we've done great this evening.
Thank you, Madam President.
And Dr. Buss, by the way, I would like to acknowledge that he attempted to get a vacation day today, which I declined. So, sorry to tell you business on record. So he's going to Georgia this evening, which is why I was so trying to get us out of here timely because he's planning to get on the highway tonight. I don't know that I've ever declined a request before, but I had to decline today. So you have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Madam President. All I want to say is I would like to wish the entire board a happy, wonderful Thanksgiving or a graceful time with their family during the holiday break. If you do not participate in Thanksgiving, just a time of reflection with your family during this time. And thank you for all the hard work that you are doing. And thank you for all the attention that you've given the programs and the hard work that you put in on each of these meetings.
Thank you. Trustee Doyle.
Yes. I would like to thank everybody for coming out. I'd like to thank all those who will watch this and also the directors. I thank you guys. You guys are doing a great job. And you too, Miss Singer, can't leave you out. Let's see, I'm really excited about the Century 21 Ed, the 21st Century Ed project. I'm really excited about that. I look forward to hopefully getting that into our district for our children. I think they could really grow from that, as well as our teachers. Also, the committee of the whole, I think we should, look into doing something different. This board has been running with these committees for a while, as I don't know how long y'all been doing it, but I feel like, times are changing. We need to do something different, maybe do better. Maybe it'll work better than the committees. I'm sure we can always go back. And I also want to take note that the credits were going to go back up to 22 credits and 28. I think that's wonderful. I don't know why it dropped, but I think that's wonderful. And also the track is really looking nice. I'm happy to see that it's coming along so well, and it'll be ready for the kids' track season.
Yeah.
You guys have a wonderful holiday on purpose.
All right, Dr. Buss had forgot something. Go ahead.
Thank you, Madam President, and I must always remember, thank you for the wonderful cabinet that I have. I'm very thankful for all of you, and I hope that all of you get the rest that you need over the holiday break. Do not open your computers until Monday morning, but I'll be back on Tuesday or Wednesday, excuse me. I put in my vacation time, Madam President. As you said earlier, I had to move it. So I want to take it too.
Just Monday, Tuesday.
No, I
He
mean,
was trying to take off Monday and Tuesday this week. I thought he respectfully declined, told him to throw it on the back of Thanksgiving.
so who keeps documentation of the vacations and the?
I keep it and you,
It's in
I keep it
Skyward.
and it is in Skyward and you can print it. Yes, sir.
Also, how many vacations? I mean, just for me.
Oh, yes, sir. You got
Any
it.
vacation?
Yeah, I am. Yep, it's there. You will not have me on the orange is not the new black.
Okay, thank you so very, very much.
He did a great job advocating for himself and trying to get off today too. Uh-huh.
Hanging and bungling and stuff.
No, sir.
He gonna hang around. Yeah.
What's the difference with you taking? I just want to spend time with family. You can take it on the end of Thanksgiving, can't you?
And you can fly.
All right, trustee Gavin.
I want to thank everybody who came out and who tuned in through Zoom and who will on YouTube. I want to thank all of the staff and everyone who has put so much work into the district. And I want to say that I am super excited for the possibility of free driver's education, and I'm hoping that my colleagues are also in support of that. I think it's very important for us to think about, I don't know who all has been in situations of poverty or, groceries are up, everything is up. The cost of everything is up. And if the state is saying we have the dollars to offer this service, this learning experience for our students, I think that we as a board should make that available to our students. And the cost will be coming from the parents. We will be pulling dollars from them. So I think it's it's something that we should move fast on and make it available. And so I'm excited for the opportunity of that. I do want to acknowledge Mr. Collins, who did ask at the last board meeting, if we can provide CTE services to students. If there are courses that are available at other schools, can we make sure that we're providing that to them as well? And so I'm grateful to our curriculum committee for making sure that that information is available in this packet, right? So that students can see what's available here, and our students can also see how they can take those courses elsewhere and still attend Benton Harbor area school. So I appreciate Chair Triplett and Director Cups for making sure that information was available as well. Thank you, Mr. Collins, for asking that question and us being able to answer it. I would also say that, if we do have members of the audience who ask questions, even if it's tough questions, if we can get in the habit of making sure that we provide that answer to them, in a timely manner, just so that they feel like their time invested here is worth it. It just makes us better. I'll just end with that. I'm super excited about this program. And I didn't mention that they also spoke about inventions that can come out of this, and also videography and documentation services, documentaries that can come out of the work that the students work, and them even being able to create a book from the work that they've created with this curriculum. So I'm just super excited about what's possible for our students and what's to come. The meeting yesterday was the best board meeting that I have attended since swearing in. And so I'm just looking at the possibilities of what can happen at Benton Harbor area schools.
All right, thank you. Up next, we have trustee Rocket Martin.
Yes, wishing everybody a happy Thanksgiving. And also, I want to say this, I'm a firm believer of protecting my own. So I will protect my school district. I will protect my school board. I will protect my students and my teachers. And personally, I resent when somebody comes in and attacks any. And so as a firm believer of protecting your house, I will protect my house. And so I'll just put that on the record. People can say what they want, but I will protect my house. And this is my house. The district is my house. And nobody, I mean, absolutely nobody comes into my house and disrupts it or talks about it or downplays it, especially when you don't live in this house. Done.
Yeah.
All right, missionary.
First Lady Trustee is a call you. Thank you for your comment. Up next, we have Secretary Triplett.
There have been ventriloquist in here. Okay, I was looking at your mouth and it didn't move. I didn't know you was practicing ventriloquism. I just would like to say in all sincerity, piggyback on what, Miss, it's just so good to hear Miss Raquette say, my house. Sometimes it gets kind of lonely, and I know that I'm not the only person that loves it. And I don't expect everybody love it in the way in which they love it, but I do. I can look down through. I got a quality education from Ben Harbor Area School. I got one of the best educations that were ever offered in this country from Ben Harbor Area School. So I don't expect you to even understand where I'm coming from, and you don't have to. Okay. I just, for me, it my daughter coined it, in a Miss Ben Harbor pageant that, how do you look at the tiger? The eye of the tiger. She said, we are tigers. We are tigers. We're tigers. Mike. Okay. Security, can you please tell Michael to be quiet? Thank you, former student. But anyhow, and she said, I don't look at the tiger. I look at the tiger as a cunning competitor and never the prey. Okay. And so just be known, you can't be mindful. People, when you're talking about leadership and you come into a place, the most disheartening thing about it all is that our kids are scattered all over in all these different foreign places, and they have attacked this place on so many different levels because this is one of the most powerful places there are. And so when we look over here, I look over at this table, and this has absolutely nothing to do with people who are hired in that do not come from this community. But it is great to look over there and see tigers sitting at that table. And and it doesn't take, because your hometown should be proud of you. And your accomplishment and what you're doing. But you can't come up in here and, people come and have this assumption. I don't know where you get it from or where they get it from. You can't just say anything about our kids. You can't just treat our employees that live in this community that pay taxes. You can't just treat them in any kind of way. And I think it's just irresponsible for you to come in and think that that's okay. It's a blessing. We look over here at our central administration staff. And it's not to diminish or anything, but all of our central administration staff is new in these roles. Everybody has an opportunity, and everybody has to have a first chance. You didn't just come, people sometimes, but what we have right here, and I think you guys, it's a blessing. And so I'm done with the lowballing of our kids. If you teach in this district and you run around talking about our kids, then I'm not going to support you. If you be out here talking about saying bad things and being disrespectful to our community, I'm not going to support you. We have people in here, University of California, that got degreed, that's looked over and dogged for whatever, for people, personal reasons or what have you, but been trained all the way through. And people I just listen to what you say. This office in this high school office is a tough place to be. And I don't know what it is that everybody attacks and comes immediately. The one before that, all of them, they come directly for that office. People don't look at your elementary schools when they do your data. They look at your high school. And it's like everybody that has sit in that office, people have done their very best from the top to destroy that individual. instead of wrapping your arms around those people and standing in the gap. So it's not new to us. We're familiar with it. But sometimes it's disappointing when you don't see any different, especially when people give you a chance to excel and to grow. And you should have that same type of courtesy. And I'm not talking from an individual perspective. I'm just talking about from those roles. I respect all of you all. I hope you all have an amazing Thanksgiving. I sit here and I look at y'all. I can remember some of y'all in elementary. And y'all so grown and fly mouthed and what have you. And it's just so funny. But it's so you don't know the pride that I have. I sit here with my sister who was my boss at one time at Stern Bronson Elementary School. She talk all that trash, but she's still my girl. And like she said, this house, these are kids. 07, 03, 94. They love this place. And I'm proud of y'all. So thank you. I'm gonna say what I got to say. I think like the old people say, I've earned it. And y'all, I'll wait for that clock to ring. I promise to God. I swear for God, I was gonna get arrested tonight with this pop cake. But thank you so much. And the president got her neck. Look at her neck. Finally get a short meeting and he gonna keep on talking. That's why I did it, because you have to put your neck like this. No, but thank you all. Y'all have a great holiday. Love you all. And y'all turn your computers off and bring them back on Monday morning early, because I got something for you.
Vice President Bowens.
First, thank you for coming out, to the staff. You can see the love, the genuine respect and teamwork. And it's an honor to serve with you all. I want to say, we may not agree with each other. We may call each other, go off, or, do what we need to do, but I believe we are here for the right thing. And the people elected us here for the right thing. Benton Harbor area schools, as Secretary Triplett says, give people a chance. When everybody else would look over you, you Google your name, you got a mile-long rhetoric, and it shows a trend. I was even your number one fan, and you would never notice. You would never know who was rooting for you in the back, saying when there was a vacancy, I thought you should be superintendent. I thank God I was outvoted. I protested without the parking lot. Secretary Triplett told me to get my butt in here. I protested. I was rooting for you. But looking at the results and the behavior, Gretchen Whitmer says, listen to what they say, but watch what they do. And when you watch what they do and you think it's cute, you think you're the next freedom fighter, when you're just fighting to make a name and look radical, you're a rebel without a cause. What are you getting out of this? To come into somebody's house and disrespect them? In the Japanese household, you would be dealt with. You got to ask yourself, a lie can't stand, the truth stands. So Dr. Butts, as I told you before, go ahead and dust that dirt off your shoulder. Don't listen to what they say. You got to see their actions. I want to say, stay encouraged, Secretary Triplett. We've seen the loss in your family and everything. And I look forward to coming to your facility committees meetings if I'm treated as a trustee that has a right. Thank you and God bless you.
And if you don't know.
Well, Lord, no.
Now, Lord.
Now, Lord. I would just like to say I appreciate everyone. We've done really great in learning how to navigate conversations without too much shade. When the shade is thrown, it is a bit comical. So very excited for where the board is headed. I think we do great work together. I appreciate our full administrative team and all of the staff that are here with us making this work. I'm a proud parent of a student of Benton Harbor area schools. And so I have my children here because my children are no better than anyone else's students. And so if I'm asking you to trust me with sending your students to me, then my students are going to be here so that I know what the parental experience and the educational experience is and where the gaps are. I'm able to see them. So it doesn't benefit me as a parent with a student in a district to also be on the board. So I appreciate the effort that's being made and the changes that are taking place. I do have an ask, for January's meeting. There's a lot of money that we've invested, $1 million here and there into this curriculum and this service and this project. And I would just like to see how the pieces come together. And that would be more so for Ms. Cupsh, Director Cupsh. So like, where does 21st Century line up with communities and schools and the African-American curriculum that we invested in and the letters training and all of these millions of dollars that we've invested in the school year? I just want to see how all of this works together. So it's hard for me to see how the pieces go together in towards the goal that we're attempting to accomplish. And so if we could try to do that for January, that'd be great. I think that might be helpful for everybody. But other than that, that's all I have. So I look forward to seeing you all at the upcoming board meeting on 12/10. And if there's no objections, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
Is there a
Support.
second or support? The motion has been made by Secretary Triplett and supported by Vice President Bowens. Any questions, comments, or concerns?
Yes, Madam President. No, I don't have any.
Secretary Triplett, it's so funny because Triplett says all the time, baby, let that neck turn. It'll show a turn.
Did
quick.
it like that and I kept talking. If you did like this, I knew I was gonna talk.
Secretary Triplett, please call the vote.
President Robinson.
Yes.
Vice President Bowen.
Yes.
Secretary Triplett, yes. Trustee Rocket Martin. Yes. Trustee Gavin.
Yes.
Trustee Doyle.
Yes.
Motion carried.
All right, meeting is adjourned as of 8:54 PM.